Hey, Bronx Art Science team. This is seventh grade science with Miss Jones, module 7.3, lesson 2. Today is Monday. I believe it is May 18th. It's May 18th. This lesson is about the reading that we're going to continue from last week. Different foods provide different amounts of energy. And it's you can read the expectations and the standards on your own, but it just tells you what standard we're using. And we're talking about how food is rearranged through chemical reactions, forming new molecules that support growth and or release energy as this matter moves through an organism. We are the organisms that they're talking about. What are we going to discover? We're going to discover which type of food molecules release the most energy. Which type of food molecules release the most energy? How much energy do different food molecules release? Burning a tortilla chip gave you evidence that food molecules can provide energy to the body. The burning reaction converted the chemical energy from the chip into thermal and light energy in the form of a flame. You can determine how much energy is converted into thermal energy when food is burned. So, depending upon how big or small that flame is, that lets you know whether it's producing a lot of energy or just a small amount. The bigger the flame, the more energy. Which type of food molecules releases the most energy? So we're talking about releasing the energy in our bodies. Some foods are made of just one type of molecule. For example, marshmallows. They're made of only carbohydrates. Oil is made of only fat. Other things you eat, like chips, are a mixture of carbohydrates and fats. So again, some foods that we eat only have one molecule. Some of them have more than one. Which molecules are considered food? When you talk about nutrients, there are 6 nutrients. And out of the 6 nutrients, 3 of them are considered food. Think about it for a second. Yes, it's your carbohydrates, your proteins, and your fats. Those are the ones that are considered food. What is a calorie? We hear that word calorie all the time, but what is that? What does it mean? We know it gives us energy. We know it's used for energy, but what is a calorie? By definition, a calorie is the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of water by 1 degree Celsius. You're probably thinking, I still don't understand what a calorie is. But hopefully by the end of this lesson, you'll know exactly what a calorie is. Another way of thinking about it is the human body needs calories to survive. Calorie consumption that is too low or too high will eventually lead to health problems. The number of calories in food tells us how much potential energy they contain. So if a food item has 100 calories, that is the potential amount of energy that it can give the body. Everybody's body is different, so it doesn't mean you're going to receive that exact amount, but that is potentially how much energy it contains. It is not only calories that are important, but also the substance from which the calories are taken. So taking calories from chicken per se is probably a little bit better than taking calories from donuts or a slice of cake, right? So let's just say the donut or the slice of cake have more calories, but which one is more beneficial for our bodies and for our cells and for our cells to be healthy? We would say the protein, which is the chicken. Absolutely. When people talk about calories in food, what do they mean? A calorie is a unit of measurement, but it does not measure weight or length. A calorie measures energy. When you hear something contains 100 calories, it's a way of describing how much energy your body could get from eating or drinking that particular item. Fat molecules release more energy than carbohydrates or proteins. Nutritionists have found that 1 gram of fat can provide 9 calories. In contrast, 1 gram of carbohydrates or proteins can only provide 4 calories. This means that if you eat 1 gram of fat, it can double the amount of energy available to your body compared to 1 gram of carbohydrates or protein. There's your chart of what we just said. It shows the actual food, which is fat, carbs, or protein, and the number of calories 1 gram of each provides. So it's the 1 gram of fat, that's 9. It's the 1 gram of carbs, that's 4. And it's the 1 gram of proteins, that's an additional 4. So as you can see, 1 gram of fat has twice the amount of 1 gram of carbohydrates or proteins. Now that you have this information, think back to last week's question. We asked, was it more beneficial, or do you get more energy from 100 grams of chicken, 100 grams of mashed potatoes, or 100 grams of lettuce? I would love to know what that answer is. So I'll give you a moment to think about it. Hopefully you said 100 grams of chicken, because chicken contains 2 of those proteins. It contains fat and it contains protein. I should have said it contains 2 of those nutrients. I'm sorry, 2 of those nutrients. It contains fat and protein. The other 2 items contain just carbs. So when you look at the fat and protein together, those number of calories would be higher than the mashed potatoes, which is just carbs, or the lettuce, which is also just carbs. All right, we're going to watch this video.
We hear about calories all the time. How many calories are in this cookie? How many are burned by 100 jumping jacks, or long distance running, or fidgeting? But what is a calorie really? And how many of them do we actually need? Calories are a way of keeping track of the body's energy budget. A healthy balance occurs when we put in about as much energy as we lose. If we consistently put more energy into our bodies than we burn, the excess will gradually be stored as fat in our cells and will gain weight. If we burn off more energy than we replenish, we'll lose weight. So we have to be able to measure the energy we consume and use, and we do so with a unit called the calorie. 1 calorie, the kind we measure in food, also called a large calorie, is defined as the amount of energy it would take to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of water by 1 degree Celsius. Everything we consume has a calorie count, a measure of how much energy the item stores in its chemical bonds. The average pizza slice has 272 calories. There are about 78 in a piece of bread, and an apple has about 52. That energy is released during digestion and stored in other molecules that can be broken down to provide energy when the body needs it. It's used in 3 ways. About 10% enables digestion, about 20% fuels physical activity, and the biggest chunk, around 70%, supports the basic functions of our organs and tissues. That third usage corresponds to your basal metabolic rate, a number of calories you would need to survive if you weren't eating or moving around. Add in some physical activity and digestion, and you arrive at the official guidelines for how many calories the average person requires each day: 2,000 for women and 2,500 for men. Those estimates are based on factors like average weight, physical activity, and muscle mass. So does that mean everyone should shoot for around 2,000 calories? Not necessarily. If you're doing an energy-guzzling activity, like cycling the Tour de France, your body could use up to 9,000 calories per day. Pregnancy requires slightly more calories than usual. And elderly people typically have a slower metabolic rate. Energy is burned more gradually, so less is needed. Here's something else you should know before you start counting calories. The calorie counts on nutrition labels measure how much energy the food contains, not how much energy you can actually get out of it. Fibrous foods like celery and whole wheat take more energy to digest, so you'd actually wind up with less energy from a 100-calorie serving of celery than a 100-calorie serving of potato chips. Not to mention the fact that some foods offer nutrients like protein and vitamins, while others provide far less nutritional value. Eating too many of those foods could leave you overweight and malnourished. And even with the exact same food, different people might not get the same number of calories. Variations in things like enzyme levels, gut bacteria, and even intestine length means that every individual's ability to extract energy from food is a little different. So, a calorie is a useful energy measure, but to work out exactly how many of them each of us requires, we need to factor in things like exercise, food type, and our body's ability to process energy. Good luck finding all of that on a nutrition label.
All right, and so your exit ticket is part of your quizzes. So that is posted in your Google Classroom after you've looked at this YouTube video or these slides. When you click on your Google Classroom, you'll see it says fourth quarter work, and it's the assignment right at the top, Module 7.3, Lesson 2, Different Foods Provide Different Energy. You'll see there is a Google Doc in there, and there is a quizzes assignment. So please, if you guys can get that done, please note up here, it is due by tomorrow evening, 8 p.m., no longer at 11:59 p.m. All assignments are due by 8 p.m. If there are any questions, feel free to email me, and I look forward to seeing you in the classroom tomorrow. Have a great day.